Hello, hello. It is 10 o'clock and our time slot is from 10 to 10:30. So I'm just gonna give a couple seconds for people to come on in and we're going to get this session started. Of course, please remember that we are also able to view this afterwards because this is going to be recorded. All right. So, everyone, hello and welcome. My name is Irina Lawrence Matthias, and I am co-owner and second shepherdess in command of Flying Fibers. We are a wool and lavender shop based in York County, Pennsylvania, where we raise 40 rare breed sheep and we have 400 lavender plants. We also have a small retail shop on our farm, which I am currently sitting in, and we sell a carefully curated collection of gifts and goods. We are a mother-daughter team. So my mother, Jerry Robinson Lawrence, who started the Flying Fibers business back in 2001, is currently taking care of my daughter today, and they are doing some farm chores around the farm. But usually at festivals or in the shop, you'll get to also see my mom and I working together, which is a really wonderful thing. So, as previously mentioned, this is recorded. So, if you feel like you missed something or you want to go back and look, don't worry. It will be in your hubs after the event. But also, we will have this up on YouTube afterwards. So, um, a little background, we've had a retail shop since 2009, and in 2022, we actually built this shop and moved to all of our stuff to the farm so that customers that come visit can experience the shop and the farm all in one place so they can really see how their yarn comes from pasture to project, from sheep to skein. So, we raise Wensleydales, Leicester long wools, and Shetland sheep. They are rare breed British sheep. And we also then have three commercial lines, our Yorkshire Medley, our Seadale, and our Yorkshire Medley light lines. So I'm going to talk about a couple of those now. I'm going to show off our colors. I'm also just going to pop in the chat a list of our website and then a list of what we have, as well as then some of the samples that I will be showing you. This is 30 minutes, so it's going to be a little bit less structured than the hour-long segments that we used to do at the sort of start of the 2020 virtual festivals. And at any time, if you want to see something else or you want to check out something behind me that you can't quite see, of course, please feel free to just unmute yourselves and we can get started. So I'm just going to spotlight myself here so that it's a nice and large for people on a iPad or tablet. So, getting started, I'm actually going to be starting with our flock yarns, talking about them, and then showing some of the samples that we have, because it is something that the retail shop and the sheep sort of came around at the start. So, my dad is born and raised in Yorkshire, England, and that's why my mom fell in love with the whole concept of British wool. And then just over the years, my sister and I came along for the ride of fiber festivals and like dyeing all of the yarn and visiting people that we imported wool from England. And it stuck with me. And this is my full time job now. And I love every second of it. So we started raising sheep in 2009. We started with a crossbred ewe named Noelle. And then in July of 2009, we got our very first Wensleydale sheep. We do have wool from our animals, of course, as well as other local farms, but we raise both white and black Wensleydales. So the black is this really beautiful sort of natural color. It's almost like a silvery brown color. It's really beautiful when it's knit up. And this specific batch is from Rowan and Monica. The really cool thing about all of the yarns that we carry from our flock, because we are a small holding and not a large producer, we can tell you exactly what fleeces went into each fiber and each batch of yarn. And so you have the name of the sheep on the back of the yarn label. So most of our flock yarns are DK or worsted weight, just because they're really versatile. 225 yards per skein for our DK weights. And then, of course, we have this really beautiful shimmery white. This is from Aggie and Frankie, who are mother and daughter. The really lovely thing about Wensleydale is they are known for their natural luster. So you can see a sort of shine. It almost looks like there's silk in it, and it's not. It's just the nature of the sheep itself. They have really cool locks. They look like this. They're kind of like Santa beards. And the lock structure is just what the lock structure of the pearl mixed with the luster is just what makes this yarn so interesting to work with. It is a long wool, so it's going to grow. We tend to shear when they get to be about 7 to 9 inches, but if they are left for the full year, it can grow up to 14 inches in length, which is such a wonderful thing to see. So we have our natural Wensleydale. So in 2009, we got Wensleydale's, and we opened up our yarn shop in November of 2009 because we needed an outlet for everything and all of the stuff from our fiber festivals. And then 2013 came around and we added Leicester long wools to our flock. I was gifted a breeding pair, and it's just been a love story ever since. So we do still actively breed Leicester long wools and Wensleydales on and off. They're a little bit more rare, so it's harder to find stock, but the Leicester long wools are also a rare breed, originally brought back by Colonial Williamsburg in the 1990s. So they are fairly new to this country still. They're only 35 years old in this country. The Leicester long wools are also a very beautiful lustrous breed. They look very similar to the Wensleydale, except for some key differences like a white face versus a bluer face, but they still have that sheen and luster and that weight of fiber that people love to make lace projects out of. It is a harder wearing fiber, it is stronger. So it might not be next to skin soft for everybody. I personally really enjoy working with it and wearing it next to my skin. It looks just as beautiful in cables. But this lace project, this is Canopy by Melody Hoffman, and I think that this is just so beautiful. And you can really see how those fibers are just drapey, beautiful, and just really gorgeous and open. So this was actually knit in some of our 2-ply sport weight from Violet and Primrose. They are twin sisters that were born on our farm 10 years ago in February. They were born on Chinese New Year, it was the year of the sheep. So it was such a cool thing. They were the first babies ever born on our farm. And they're still hanging out today, as sassy as ever. So we have this beautiful 2-ply sport weight from Violet and Prim. And the lovely thing about 2-ply is that it's a very flat fiber. So it's beautiful. It's a flat yarn construction, I should say. I'm sorry. So it's really beautiful for lace because it sits really open and allows those yarn overs to really pop. So once again, this is Canopy by Melody Hoffman, and it was knit in our 2-ply yarn from Violet and Primrose. So, it's a really fun thing to be able to knit with yarn from the sheep and then go out in the pasture and just like see them. It's like just sort of a very like round circle thing. So in 2013, we got Leicester long wools. Now we have 2 sheep breeds. And in 2017, we added Shetlands to our flock. Shetlands are very much like potato chips. You can't have just one. The Wensleydales and the Leicester Longwools only come in natural white and natural black. They do not have any other colors in their genetics. Shetlands, on the other hand, have 11 different colors and over 30 different markings that give them just a host of colors. They are just so beautiful. So our Shetland fibers are just a little bit more, I don't want to say fun looking, but they are definitely more of a natural rainbow. So we have, I would say the majority of our flock are Shetlands now because they're also smaller, so it's easier for our pastures to manage. And they are amazing mothers. It's really easy. We never have any lambing problems with them, so it's just a really wonderful thing. Okay, so a whole rainbow here. Like I said, they literally come in a whole host of colors. So we've got a natural white from Curly, one of our rams. We also have an oatmeal from Percy and Tinkerbell. So you can start to see like the gradation shift here. We have this is from Chardonnay. She's one of the matriarchs of the flock. It's like a gray brown. We have a Morit from Coco. These look different in person. It's very hard to translate on the computer screen, but just trust me on this. We also have a sort of brown charcoal color from Shayla, and then we have a sort of heathered charcoal from Jossie Penny, Mary, and Margaret. And this is our sort of natural rainbow of our Shetland yarns. So these are also DK weight, 225 yards per skein, and they just knit up so beautifully. And they're very there's an array of fleece types. So all of the Wensleydale and all of the Leicester long wool usually feel the same across the breed, unless there's a really big difference. Shetlands are really awesome because they have a very different fleece type within the body. They have a variable fleece, and that's what makes us love them so much. So every batch of yarn, every sort of different color can feel slightly different. And it's just something that we really enjoy here at Flying Fibers. So when you come to visit the shop, if you're ever in the South Central Pennsylvania area, you'll actually see our flock of Shetlands in front of the shop. You can sit on our patio that we have out front and just soak in just their beauty and their curiosity and their great, just like they're just cool animals in general. So yeah, so these are our natural Shetlands. And we have a whole host of other yarns from our flocks on our website as well. We have from some other local shepherds that, or, you know, fiber flock owners. We buy in their fleeces and turn them into yarns. So we'll have like our Friends of the Flock series if they just have a couple animals, so they don't have enough to like send to the mill. So we have the Friends of the Flock and other stuff. Like I made this hat for my almost 3-year-old daughter. Time flies. And it's the Traveler Hat by Andrea Mowry, and it was in our Craley Crew yarn, which is a blend of 50% Shetland from our flock and 50% local alpaca from a lady that lives down the street. And it's a worsted weight yarn. So I knit the Traveler Hat, and this is in the camel color. So we just have a lot of fun things. We always love supporting the local wool economy. But when you feel as though you don't have enough yarn to fill a yarn shop because there's only you shear, you know, maybe once or twice a year, and then there's the weight from the mill. What do you do except create your own commercial lines? So we have 3 commercial lines, as I had mentioned previously. We have our Yorkshire Medley, which is the first commercial line we produced and put out in 2016. And then we introduced our Yorkshire Medley Light in 2020. And now we have our Seadale yarn, which we released in 2021. And I'm going to show you guys the yarns and the colors and just talk a little bit about what they're good for and go from there. So our Yorkshire Medley, we still wanted to celebrate the Wensleydale sheep because it is the sheep that we started with. It's why we had started the Flying Fibers business in general, was to promote the preservation of the rare breed sheep. And so we decided to make our Yorkshire Medley yarn line in 2016. It's a DK weight, 262 yards to the 100-gram skein, and it is a 50% Wensleydale, 50% Blueface Leicester blend. It now comes in 15 dyed colors and a natural. So we have our really beautiful, we've got, okay, so our natural is elderflower. And all of the names come from places in England, because my dad being British and still having family over there. So we all have, so they're all just like named after British places. We have our shades of pinky reds. We have Meadow Rue here and Molten here, which is like a really nice sort of a bluey pink and then like a rosy color. We've got our shades of orange. So we have Grouse, which is a true sort of orange. And then we have Thornton, which is more of like the harvest color orange. We also have our yellows, which we've got 2 yellows. We have our Busby Harvest and our Rothwell Gold. Rothwell Gold is definitely like a true, very bright yellow, whereas our Busby Harvest is definitely more of that muted sort of wheat type color overall. We then have our greens. We've got 3 shades of green. We have more shrub And then we also have our Winnie Moore Hops colorway, which is more of like a bright yellow green. And then we have our blue sort of Kelly based green, and it's called Bracken. And all of these colors are kettle dyed. So we import the raw wool from England. We have it custom manufactured into the yarn base for us specifically. And then we hand dye it all here on the farm. So we're involved in like 95% of the process of it, but whether we're like contracting, buying, dyeing, we just aren't growing the wool because we do it in like 500-pound batches. So we have our greens. We also have our beautiful blues. We have our River-esque, which is a very, very popular one. We have Whitby Shale, which is a really nice sort of powder blue. It's like a not quite neutral. It's really pretty. And then we have our North Sea. So we have a really nice array of blues as well if you're a blue person. And then we have just our sort of purpley plums, not purpley plums. They have purpley plums. Okay, we have our sort of what I consider sort of like the denim of the denims of the purples. We have our Ilkley Heather colorway, which is just like a nice medium purple. It's very pretty. We have a more blue sort of purple. This is called Monkshood. Once again, these colors are kind of hard to see on the screen. I have weird light right now. There you go. You can sort of see the difference there. And then we have Elderberry Jam, which is a very beautiful berry color. So these are then the 3 shades of our purples. So overall, they create an incredibly cohesive color palette. My mom custom mixes all of the colors. And so we have like full dye lots of them, and there's like consistency across the colors, but they also all work together really beautifully. An amazing sample that is a really great show of that is our Nightshift by Andrea Mowry. So this is done in obviously our Yorkshire medley. We have our River-esque, our Busby Harvest. We have the Elderberry Jam, North Sea, Moor Shrub, and Grouse. And if I was to hold these colors together, let me just show you. It's so interesting to see how it looks so different. Okay, so we have, let's see here. All right, I've got Grouse, River-esque, North Sea, Busby Harvest, and my Moor Shrub, Elderberry. Okay. 6 colors, right? Yep. If I was to hold these up, you would probably be like, huh? It was just they're beautiful colors, but you might be like, oh my goodness, like that green with the like orange is just too much. But putting them together, allowing the really beautiful kettle dyed method sort of show off, it just really creates a top-notch garment. So this is a really fun one. It's a sort of a showstopper. I love this sort of big swath of orange that sort of sits next to the more slate color that is River-esque. I think that's a really beautiful project overall. And so yeah, this is a really fun sample. It's a great way to show off color. So it does beautiful in mosaic style color work. Yorkshire Medley also just knits up beautiful in color work in general. It is a 3-ply DK, so it's a very round yarn. So it works up really well. This is Sullivan by Rachel Brockman. 5 years ago already, time flies. It was our 10-year anniversary, and so Rachel designed this entire beautiful collection around our Yorkshire Medley yarn to celebrate our 10 years as a brick and mortar yarn shop. And Sullivan was one of the hats. Once again, just a really beautiful pattern. The colors used were our elderflower, which is our natural, our elderberry jam, and then our Rothwell gold. And it was just a really fun project overall. Really nice color work and incredibly crisp stitch definition. It's also beautiful for cables and brioche. So the cool thing as well, especially for like this sample I'll show you. Okay, this is our river-esque color. So even though it's a really dark slate, it still shows the stitch definition beautifully. And that is because of the Wensleydale that is in the yarn. It allows there to be a light reflecting off of it, and it really captures the cables. So this is the Gretna jumper by Rachel Brockman. It's a really beautiful project. It is knit in pieces and then seamed together, but it just gives it the structure that you need for such an intense garment like this. Really beautiful, really classic, available on Ravelry and also on Rachel's website and Payhip. So this is beautiful, designed in our Yorkshire Medley. It was the first project that we ever contracted Rachel to knit for us and design for us. So this is the Saurel wrap. This is a really good example of how you can use our flock yarns and our Yorkshire Medley yarns together. So my main color is our Rothwell Gold in Yorkshire Medley. I love a yellow. It doesn't always love me because of the color, like because of my like undertones, but I love it. I think it's great. Anyways, and then I used River-esque as my contrast color one, and then I actually used our Wensleydale flock yarn as my like other contrast color. So you can see that it works up really nicely together. So if you want to have a little bit of our flock yarn, but you're like, oh, I can't commit to like a whole neutral palette or whatever, just like pop it in with some of our Yorkshire Medley. It's a ton of fun. It knits up really well and it's just so beautiful. So this is the Saurel by Susanna Kaartinen. It was a Brooklyn tweed pattern. So that's a really beautiful sample. It also does really well in lace. Yorkshire Medley does. So we have, this is Abeille by, it's one of our in-house patterns. So this was designed by me, and it's just a blend of lace and garter, and it just, you can really see that beautiful stitch definition on those little sections of lace there. So this is a big pattern. It took 4 skeins total, but I love that little sort of ruffly knit on border on the bottom. That's my favorite way to end shawls now, because then I don't have to worry about my bind off being too tight. Okay, I do have more samples, but I'm also watching my time. So that is our Yorkshire Medley yarn. We also then released our Yorkshire Medley Light, which is a fingering weight version of the same 50/50 Blueface Leicester Wensleydale blend. And that is offered in more limited colors just because it is a slightly newer yarn. We have our natural, we have the Thornton colorway, we have, I'm missing one. We also have our Busby Harvest colorway. We've got our More Shrub colorway. It's a very autumnal blend right now. I'm going to throw in, we have River-esque, and then we have Ilkley Heather, Whitby Shale, and Elderberry Jam. These are 50-gram skeins, so 202 yards to the 50-gram skein. So it's nice if you want to do color work. You're not bogged down with like a ton of yardage you don't need. But also, once again, an incredibly cohesive palette overall, and really great for color work or anything with cables because of the fiber content and the construction of the yarn. So this is our Yorkshire Medley Light yarn. So in 2021, we decided that it was time to add a new yarn line to the mix. We were ready to try something different, so we created our Seadale yarn. Seadale is a blend of Manx Lockton and Wensleydale. The cool thing about a Manx Lockton is it's naturally a Moritz sheep, and so when we blend it with the white Wensleydale, you get this very beautiful taupey khaki color that we call cuppa, like the perfect cup of tea. So we have cuppa is the natural. And because it is a khaki, it gets over dyed, and it creates this really beautiful over dyed heathered colors overall. So this is our sort of red rose. This is called Hawthorn. We have our orange, which is ginger biscuit. We have our yellow, which is ragwort bloom. We've got our green, which is hedgerow. And then we have Sea Isle, which is our blue color, and we have our final purple, which is teasel. And so this is another really beautiful lineup overall, really cohesive colors and just really fun to knit with. It's a worsted weight. You get 198 yards to the skein, and it does beautiful in color work. This is the Morse Cowl by Michelle Wong, and it is knit in 2 skeins of a background color, so we used Kappa, and then 1 skein of your pattern color, and we used Seadale for that. It also, because of the Wensleydale, has really beautiful stitch definition, but the Manx locked in gives it the springiness that it needs. And so this is the Seadale hat designed by our friend Rachel Brockman. Just a really fun sort of old style, like pom-pom hat, with these really endearing cables on it. That's a lot of fun. Another example of some color work, this is Goldwing by Jen Steingass, and we used Ragwort Bloom as the top color, and then Sea Isle as the main color. And then this is a really fun one. This is Solitaire. I love this sweater. It's very near and dear to my heart because Rachel designed it. We love Rachel. She was local to us for quite some time, so it's nice because it feels like we're working with somebody from home. She's just a great person overall. You should check out her designs if you haven't. But this is Solitaire, designed by Rachel, and it was actually published in Laine magazine issue 16, so December of 2022, in our Seadale yarn. It was very exciting. We were like blown away. We were like, oh my god, they accepted like the swatch in our yarn and everything. It was designed in the Ragwort Bloom colorway, and it features this really fun split hem. It has these really nice textured panels on the front and the back, and then this really beautiful shaping around the shoulders, as well as this folded neckline is just so beautiful. Absolutely love it. It is a one of a kind sweater, and I just love like Rachel's detailings, and her design sense is just so amazing. Here is another sample of Seadale. This is Pousse Cafe by Thea Colman, and it uses our ginger biscuit teasel, and then it uses at the bottom some Sea Isle there, and that's a fun little sort of shell knit in our Seadale as well. And yeah, that was kind of fast and furious. I still have a couple minutes. I just wanted to make sure I got everything talked about. But we are, in addition to manufacturing our own yarns, growing our own yarns, being a wool and lavender farm, we are also a regular, yarn shop. So we carry ChiaoGoo needles. We have their full range of interchangeable like tips and cables, their sets. We also have their um fixed circulars, the red circulars, and we have those in 9-inch up through 60-inch. We've got a good array of sizes there. And we also carry Lina Publishing and Lina Magazine. So we have the publications like Moosh and Friends. We also have the Grand Shetland Adventure Knits. We did just get in the newest Knitted Kalevala 2, which is stunning. I love this. I loved the first one, but I felt like there was a lot of fingering weight patterns, and I don't tend to knit with that because of just how much time I have or don't have in life. This is awesome. It's a 50-50 split between like DK worsted and fingering weight. So, really enjoy this. I already have some patterns earmarked for samples. We have a couple copies left for this order of the newest Lina magazine, issue 22. And of course, we have their 52 weeks collections. So we have like the 52 weeks of easy knits, 52 weeks of accessories, shawls, socks. We've got the whole kit and caboodle there. So, yeah, we have a lot of fun things. We also have gifts from England for people. So if you aren't a crafter, but you want to maybe get something for somebody that you love or for yourself, we do also carry products from Glencroft UK. They're a Yorkshire-based company that has been around since the 80s. And we love Yorkshire here. So we just got in some of their wool travel blankets for the holiday season. This is the Holyrood color. It's like a really beautiful blue with some browns and some greens throughout. We have their gray Thompson color, which is more of like your traditional, what you think of when you think of like a tartan. We have their Glencroft green, which I am just loving. It's got like salmon, mustard, a little bit of like maroon, and then on like a green blue background. So lovely. And we have their Camel Stewart color as well, which is once again sort of like a Burberry style. What do you think of when you think of like a classic tartan? So we have their wool travel blankets as well as some mittens, fingerless mitts, and just other lovely gifts and goods. All can be found on our website. I'll pop that there again in the chat. So our online store is open 24/7. Our yarn shop is open Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays from 10 to 4 and Saturday from 10 to 3. And you can find us virtually, but you can also find us at Maryland Sheep and Wool, Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival, and the New York State Sheep and Wool Festival throughout the year. So 10:30, time is up. Rapid Fire Fiber Festival. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.